So good morning and welcome to another episode of Better Business, Better Life. Today I'm here with Wade Jackson, who is the founder of the Covert Theatre and also Sexy Monkey Pants at Inspired Learning. Now that has to be the most inventive title I've had on this show, but welcome, Wade.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to have you here. So you're going to tell us all about your story of life, the universe and everything, but let's get started with a personal and professional best first of all.
A personal best? Well, that would be my children. So yes, I have a almost 15-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old son. So that they're kind of my light.
Yep.
And light and love of the world. Yeah.
Perfect. And professionally?
Professionally would be opening a second improv theatre and surviving a global pandemic.
Yeah, we were just talking about that a moment ago. It's like, yes. Yeah, so tell us about the Covert Theatre. Tell me the little story behind big story behind the Covert Theatre.
Well, this is actually the second version of the Covert Theatre. I built the first one in 2001 in K Road. And that was from touring internationally and seeing other, and especially in the States, seeing improv theatres and going, wow, you can have your own venue. And so I was unemployed at the time, so I had time on my hands and borrowed some money and built a theatre. And then they had that for 4 years. And then I was getting drawn more into the corporate world. I was getting a little bit tired of being the poor starving actor. Yeah. And when I closed that down in 2005, I thought, well, one day I will open it up again. And that one day was 2020. Not the greatest year to open a live entertainment venue, but
because you're around the corner from us at home, and I mean, you literally just opened the doors as the.
Well, no, we couldn't open.
Because of the pandemic.
We were going to open in March, and then the lockdown happened, and so we didn't get to open because we were almost hadn't finished building. We didn't open until end of June, and then of course we've probably I haven't done the maths, but probably about equal measure of open and lockdown
and closed. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. So why Covert Theatre? What sort of?
Oh, because improv is such a beautiful art form. It's been very good to me both professionally and personally. And my whole idea is it's kind of modeled on a place in Chicago called Second City. It's about how do I breed, have a home for creative Kiwi talent. And it's basically a breeding ground. So it's not a venue for hire. It's we have like over 100 members. People come in. We have a junior program, school holiday program, and people learn the life lessons that come from improv, and they take that into their personal lives and on stage as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a breeding ground for talent.
Fair enough. This is not your first business, is it?
Well, it was my first one originally, and then I paused it to get into the corporate world, which has ended up being Inspired Learning, and then kind of had my breakthrough moment back in 2015, where I was growing that business globally. We had David Covey, the son of the late Stephen Covey, from 7 Habits, and he was our global distributor, growing that business. And I was traveling around the world, sleeping in hotels, living on airplane, eating airplane foods, and away from family, and not very happy, but growing the business. And just had a moment where I was like, what am I doing? I was like 15 kilos overweight, wasn't doing the performance side of things, and wasn't very happy. And so made a decision to make some big changes in my life. Yep. And get back into the theatre more. So now I have a much better balance of doing the corporate training and speaking and facilitation. Yep. And also the improv performance.
And what was it, the straw that broke the camel's back? Like, you say you woke up one day 15 kgs overweight and going, what am I doing? But what was the final thing?
I had some time off. We went and did the wife came with me. We went to the Hawaiian Improv Festival, and then we took a week off and we went to Maui for a week. I was just kind of sitting on the beach, and when you have that space and time to think and reflect, I just realized, you've heard of builder syndrome, the builder who fixes everybody else's house but their own.
I can relate to you. Yeah.
I was the high performance coach who was fixing everybody else's life but not their own. So the hypocrisy and the guilt kind of hit home. I was just kind of like, what am I doing? So I know this stuff better than most. Why am I doing it? So I just put it into put some changes in place and created some rituals and living a much healthier, meaningful life.
Yeah. We talk about doing what you love with people you love. And I suppose that's probably what was missing in all of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was just kind of chasing the wrong dream of, trying to build a global business and going for global domination, all that kind of stuff. It wasn't really what I was really into.
Yeah. Okay.
You get caught up in the hype of what you should be doing in business.
And what people say you should be doing as well. Yeah, completely agree. Okay, cool. So we're back to the covert number 2.
Yes.
And obviously opening just as the pandemic, or about to open as the pandemic hit. And talk us through that, a little bit of that story and how it's gone.
Well, the essence of comedy is timing, and boy, did I nail it. So it's been fantastic. It's had rapid growth. We've got so many people coming in, like our workshops are oversubscribed. We had to double stream them. We had a full school holiday program, the last one we ran. We are able to offer some scholarships to disadvantaged kids in West Auckland, and so we're just doing more of that. It's really just growing. Again, the heart of the essence of improv, it's about connection.
Yep.
And I think that the lockdown, the pandemic, has showed us how important that is to us as a species. And improv is such a fun way to learn about yourself.
Yep.
Because you're learning through play. And it's a genuine form of play. A lot of adult play is all very competitive based, sports and so forth. Whereas when you do improv, there is no other. And so we're all level on the level playing field. So it's a fantastic, beautiful way of learning about yourself and being able to self-create, self-discover, self-express.
And so you do this work obviously with the people who are part of the team there, but do you also do it with other people outside of that sort of community?
Yeah, we have those who come to our community workshops. So anyone can come and do, as long as you're 18 years of age. We have other programs for our younger members.
Yep.
But if you're over 18, anyone can come in and do our Improv 101.
Yep.
And then if they enjoy that, they can apply for 201. But that means you're now wanting to get on stage. Whereas a lot of people just come in and just get the lessons from the 101.
So what do you get out of it? What's the lessons you kind of learn from the 101?
I mean, we've had people who have even got off their antidepressant medication from coming and doing the improv. We've had people who've been chronically shy. We've had one person, she ended up joining the theatre. She had a social anxiety disorder.
Really?
So she was someone who didn't like anyone looking at her or anything like that. And she ended up, just having that confidence and feeling safe. I think that's a real important part of what we do, is create a real safe environment for people where failure is just is okay. It's part of the learning process. So I think, it depends on what you will get out what you need from the course. So many people have different things that they will need. People who have imposter syndrome or think they've got to be, prepared for everything in life, and it gives you the courage to be yourself as well. I think that's what it's done for me.
Yep.
And you get to a point where, you can take what you do seriously, but improv teaches you not to take yourself too seriously. It's a very humbling art form. As soon as you think, oh, I'm good at this, boom, you're going
it was something else.
Yeah.
Okay, so 101 is just sort of learning the skills and learning how that can help you.
Yes.
And then 201 is where you actually get up on stage.
At the end of the course, you get up. So they're both 10-week courses. At the end of the 20 weeks, you do a show, and everyone who goes finishes 101 says, I cannot do a show in 10 weeks time. And I've been hearing that for 20 odd years now. So it's like, yes, you can, and you'll be fabulous. And they are. Yep. We've got we call it Improv Rookie Night. We've got that on next week. And it's sold out, which is great. So everyone, and then there's a 301, which is more, because there's different kind of styles of improv too. There's people think it's just like whose line is it anyway? Yeah. But that's really almost improv stand-up. How fast can you be funny?
Right.
Whereas we do much more of a narrative storytelling based. So we call that short form, where you play the improv games, and then you have long form, which is more of the improv scenes, and then you have narrative form, which is like the improv play. So, for example, we have a show called Instant Broadway, which is an hour-long improvised musical from start to finish.
Really?
Yeah. A Bard's Tale is an improvised Shakespeare play.
I just saw that advertised. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Full costume, but it's a play. But it's just unscripted. But it's all done in the style of Shakespeare. We worked with Stuart Deviney, one of New Zealand's top Shakespeare directors, for a long time, making sure that it looks and sounds like Shakespeare. Yep. But it's a lot more fun.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
And so how does this sort of tie in with the work you do in the corporate world?
Well, I guess, So into the corporate world, I'm taking the principles of improv into that, but have aligned them to business needs. So, and I also have a health science background as well. So I'm kind of mixing all my different backgrounds there. I'm not doing straight improv in the corporate world, but use some of the exercises to reflect human behavior. So it kind of, the improv exercises, they act like a mirror. They reflect you back at yourself. And that's how you can develop your self-awareness. So, I do the leadership work, self-leadership, resilience, creativity, and also the storytelling communication.
Okay.
So the storytelling communication obviously is based on my time on the stage.
Yep.
Understanding how to make what makes good stories, and so that is a direct translation into a skill building process. So I've written a book on that.
You've written a few books, haven't you? So you've got the Jolt Challenge.
Jolt Challenge.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
So that's all around. That was about 3.5 years. Actually, there's a book and a workbook. So the whole thing took 5 years of research and development. And that was picked up by like the Singapore military. Ended up being a leadership consultant to them, where they said it was like the best program around self-awareness on the market, because one of the hardest things to develop is self-awareness. And it's kind of it's a deep dive into oneself. So it was done like a boot camp, so a 10-week program. So you can just work through it yourself. And in fact, I got a message that during the last lockdown, how it actually saved someone's life. They were feeling very depressed and were looking at taking themselves out of the picture, and they went back and went through their Jolt program, and it helped them gain some clarity and some focus. And so very, very humbling. So that's the Jolt. Well,
and that's still around?
Yes, still around.
The workbook and work through it.
So I do one-on-one coach. I take people through it one-on-one, and I also run groups as well. And there's also, I've kind of scaled it down into a 2-day program as well. So for organizations that like rather do the 10-week challenge, they can do a 2-day version, and that's all around your beliefs and value systems, and how you talk to yourself, and kind of future setting, how you want to live your life, set intention and goal setting, all that kind of stuff. So that's the Jolt program. Then there's Mind Dojo. We have an app for that as well. That's all around resilience.
That's right.
So that's that program, and it's based a lot on my health science, but also again a lot of the improv is in there as well. And then there's creativity. And it's more kind of bespoke. So I work with companies who are doing human-centered design, going agile, things like that. And I kind of give them how to, because you can have all the tools in the world, but if you haven't built the creative culture, it's just not going to happen. So people just won't use the tool. So I go in and work with companies around helping them set the right environment for creativity and innovation to actually flourish as well.
And what would be the kind of the basics of that? How does one create creativity?
Well, there are some myths you have to destroy. I think people think that creativity is a solo pursuit. Like you have creativity, you don't have it. You are creative. So it's a verb much more than a noun. So you have to be creative. So you've got to do things that are creative, but you have to have a safe and non-judgmental environment to do it. Otherwise, if you put your hand in the fire once, you get burnt. You go, oh, I won't do that again. You just won't do it in creativity, in brainstorm sessions or idea generation sessions. So and it's not a solo pursuit, it's a group activity. So it's all about how do you help people work collaboratively. So one of the tools in improv, which is used in, I was over at Stanford University, they use it in the D school over there, is the yes and tool. So because that's the name of the trust that runs the theatre, is the Yes and Trust. So that is simply saying, how do I say yes? So how do I affirm you and accept what you're saying? And then the and part is the generative part. How do I build on what you're doing? Rather than saying no, but. Or classic Kiwi, the passive aggressive Kiwi will go yes, but. And as soon as you say but, you negate everything you said before it. So the yes and is a very simple tool that you can teach people to help create a safe environment and generate ideas. I'm
interested. The whole passive aggressive Kiwi thing, it really is a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
we can't even say no. Without going,
Where does it come from, do you think? Because I'm British, and I think there's an element of British in there, but we're a little bit more direct.
Yes. I just think it is a cultural thing. It's kind of it's that whole 2 degrees of separation. If I say no to you, you'll know someone who will know someone will come back to me. So I kind of hedge my bets. It's like you're selling in New Zealand, and it's like they'll say that's really good idea, but don't you come back in 3 months? They're saying no, but they're saying come back in 3 months. Whereas in Australia, I've worked in Australia, and it's just kind of like nah.
I'm the same. So I actually grew up in the UK, worked in Australia for 11 years, then came to New Zealand, and I've really struggled between the differences. And it's like, just say no. I don't mind if you say no. I won't. I might be a little bit upset, but I'll get over it. I
won't waste my time.
Okay, so they're using the yes and that sort of creativity can actually help to overcome some of that.
It's just people feel the fate, especially in the corporate world. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of status and ego all wrapped up in that. So no one wants to be the person who puts out a silly idea and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of organizations, they talk a great game, like we encourage failure and all that kind of stuff, but they don't.
No.
So you need to have a strong culture to allow real creativity to flourish, because creativity is the precursor to innovation. You can't have innovation without creativity. And they're not the same thing. Innovation is the result of a process and the outcome. But if you haven't got the creative thinking in the first place, which is all about discovery and going into the unknown, then you're not going to have really good innovation. You're just going to have what you've always done before, or just slight refinements or tweaks.
Yeah. Okay. It's interesting. I worked in a large corporate. We did the whole LSI testing,
right, yep.
And we got the classic kind of passive aggressive bow tie. And at the time I was thinking, it was almost the entire leadership team in the organization. It was just fascinating to see how that sort of gets developed and is allowed to flourish in those environments. Yeah. So time to do something different. Yeah,
absolutely. Yes.
So what's your why? Like why does Wade exist? What is he on this planet for?
Well, in my professional life is to inspire meaningful happiness. I go into a lot of corporates, and I see a lot of what I call corporate zombies. So people who aren't really switched into what actually excites them, what they're doing. And it's very easy to fall into the trap. I fell into it myself. This is I'm chasing the wrong dream here. So you got to come back to what is how do you contribute? And I think people talk about like happiness being the end goal, but I think it's more around being having more meaningful than that, hence the inspire meaningful happiness.
Yep.
So how do you contribute and how do you belong? I think if you can answer those questions, then you're going to tap into, then you'll just live happiness as a byproduct of those things. So my thing is just to help people get clear in the different ways, whether I'm coaching or facilitating or speaking, for people to get some clarity around that.
Beautiful.
Wow.
I can see you love it.
Yes.
Yeah. And you got a new book coming out, right?
Yes, that was one of the joys of lockdown.
Yeah.
Because that's been sitting in my drafts for a long time. So that's Making It Easy. And I've got another one to work on as well. The Mind Dojo book, the book on resilience. So that's been many years of research, and that's in a state now where I've started the writing. But Making It Easy is all around. It's a short book. It's all around tips and strategies for those who facilitate. Those who stay at the front of the room, and just the tricks that I've picked up over the last 20, almost 30 years.
Nice. And the Mind Dojo thing. So you've got the app.
The app is done. Yep. Yes. Yeah. The program is running, and that's been running very successfully. And now, there's a book coming next year on that. Yes. So how again, and how to live that kind of that authentic life, making sure that you're living the life you want to live.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there have been some tips and things you've learned throughout the whole lockdown around.
Well, people are, because I'm I perform on stage, but I'm actually more, if I do the test, I'm an ambivert, but the thing with improv is improv teaches you, it's a form of active mindfulness, how to be present in the moment. Because what happens is you're going to get to a state that's taken me decades to get there, but you improvise from awareness rather than from thinking, rather than cognition. So you're fully present in the moment.
Yep.
Because it just goes too fast to be thinking. And so what happens? So it's taught me to be much more present. So I didn't hate lockdown at all. You just deal with what is. You don't worry about what was or what could be. You deal with what's in front of you. And so I was very happy in lockdown, and I'm very happy now outside of it too. So
either or.
They're both good.
And so obviously the Covert's back up and running again after our second lockdown. 107 days. Well,
second big one. We had some others.
Well, that's of course. That would affect you as well. And so what's the plans for the future?
Onwards and upwards. We've got a couple of weeks of shows, and then ironically we take a break so for summer, and then we're opening in mid-January. And then we've got an exciting summer program all lined up, because we had the Fun Size Festival, which is actually a comedy play. So we went out to anybody in New Zealand could write a short comedy play, and we created that. We had over 40 submissions. We picked 5. We're staging 5 plays. That was going to be in September, so that's been postponed till January, February. So that's our first non-scripted part that we're doing at the theatre. But we're cast from the theatre. But it's a new works festival basically, which is great. And then we've also got, we'll have the comedy festival coming up in May. And one of the things we're also doing is we've gone out to different charities. And so we're offering charity nights. So Wednesday is going to be like our charity night, where a lot of other charities have been hit. And so if we offer them, they can have a free show, and we can take the bar proceeds, and they can raise money, sell tickets and raise money for that as well. So we want to make the theatre it's run by a charitable trust. We want to make it for the community. So that's kind of one of the plans. And one of the things I've been interested in is also talking to Indiana University, who do improv for autistic teens. And so we're looking at running a workshop, because I watched a show, Love on the Spectrum, which was about autistic people, autism, and you see the things that they need to learn around social skills and connection in a safe environment. I was just going, improv does that. So I just did a bit of research, found that there's a faculty in the US who specializes in that, and we've connected and looking to bring some of that here as well.
Excellent. Hey, I meant to ask, in the whole lockdown, did that mean that you ended up doing improv virtually? Like, can you do improv virtually?
You can do shows, but
yeah.
I don't enjoy performing in them or even watching them. So overseas, there was more kind of those kind of shows. We did some workshops online as for the juniors program, and it's not as good, obviously.
Yep.
We're a social species, we like to be with others.
Yes.
And so, but it was better than nothing.
Yeah.
So it's.
I just wonder if it opened up any more opportunities for you in terms of, taking it beyond Auckland.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately for us, we got declined some council funding for cameras. And so what we wanted to do was, after the first lockdown, we thought we really need to record shows, all the shows. And so if there's another lockdown, we could then stream them and show them. But the council of the wisdom didn't fund us. And the second lockdown happened. It's kind of like, told you. Yeah.
Okay, so if anybody out there listening who wants to donate some cameras to the Covert Theatre, Wade would be very happy. Yeah, perfect. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So we always ask our guests to kind of share some tips with the listeners. They can go away and take some of the inspiration they've got from this and put them into action. And you've talked about your 3 Ps. Do you want to share a little bit about those for me?
That's going to be my guiding thing for a while now. It's making sure that you have a purpose or a passion. That's the first P.
But so I'm going to ask a few questions around that. So I mean, how do you go? I'm lucky, I know what mine is, but for a lot of people, they even my husband actually, he says, well, I'm not really sure what his purpose is. How do you help find that?
Yeah, this is where Simon Sinek and I part ways. I don't think purpose is spelt with a capital P. I think it's spelt with a small p. And I think it's again, it comes down to how do you contribute? How do you want to contribute? And also what excites you and what are you enthusiastic about? I think if you can figure out what is it you're enthusiastic about, then you're playing in that ballpark of your purpose and passion. But I just think in the Western society, we've overblown the word purpose and made it too big. What excites you? What do you like to do?
And it doesn't have to be everything for you either, does it? No, I mean, so Steve has a day job, which
it doesn't have to be your work either. This is where, again, there's different ways you can contribute. You can contribute through your work, absolutely. Or you can contribute in the community in a different way. So what is it that kind of feeds the soul? So that's how I kind of define it.
Have you got any tools that people could actually kind of that you'd recommend?
Jolt program.
Of course. Good. No,
yes.
So
the Jolt challenge manual, which is actually sort of processes of helping you discover it. Okay,
perfect. Right, got it. And we'll put a link to that onto the podcast.
You also want to make sure that it's also value aligned. A lot of people set goals and they don't really achieve them because they're not value aligned goals. So I think you need clarity around your values for sure. That's going to be important. They kind of go in together. Values and purpose kind of go in together for me. And then the next P would be have a plan. But there's a Chinese proverb, there are many moons up the mountain, but only one moon to be seen from its summit. So you may have a plan, but don't be rigid. Don't hold it rigid. You might be shifting paths. You might get to the same goal, but how do you get there will be different. So have a plan that you hold loosely. And the last one, which I think is a key one, is perseverance. Just keep going. Just keep going. Is that. And another thing I'd also, another tip would be, there's a lot of noise out there. I think social media, I see some of the statistics around what it does for our mental health and well-being. Just ignore the noise. There's so much noise out there that just don't play that game.
Play your own game. Yeah. It's easier said than done though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, they're designed to be addictive, those things. So social media.
So you got any sort of personal tips yourself? I mean, I've actually taken off the Facebook app off my phone, and I try really hard not to look at things I can't actually have any influence over anymore.
So my phone lives on silent. I don't use it. I wear a watch now. I have an alarm clock, so I don't use it as my clock. Because it just keeps drawing you back. Off on weekends, it does actually have an off switch. Some people forget that. So it can do that. There's lots of different tips, and we actually, again, it's in the Mind Dojo app. There's some whole tips around this. It's just choose your poison. You don't have to have all of them. So which ones do you want, and be very clear on how you want to use it. So I have 2 social media platforms that I'm on. One is Facebook simply for the theatre. So if you're not an improviser, we're not connected. Even my mother isn't a Facebook friend of mine. And the other one is LinkedIn, and that's purely for my work. And that's it. So I have restricted use around them.
Perfect. I like it. Yeah, great. Okay, any last parting words of wisdom?
Be nice to your mother.
And if somebody wants to get hold of you, and also there's a few things in there, right? So we've got the Jolt workbook. We'll put a link to that in the actual podcast. The Covert Theatre, is it just is it Covert Theatre, the Covert Theatre? What's
Covert Theatre. You've got to say that
Yeah.
clearly
Oh,
now.
Covert
Yes, you can't say
Theatre.
Covert
Yes.
Theatre. Yes, Covert, have to enunciate. Covert Theatre. That is for, there's workshops and shows. So we do shows Thursday to Sundays.
Yep.
And workshops Monday to Tuesdays.
Perfect. Okay. And if they wanted to come and talk to you, how would they find you? LinkedIn?
You can find me on LinkedIn.
Yep.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes. Or go to inspiredlearning.global.
Yep.
Or wadejackson.co. There's a couple of websites there.
Fantastic. Hey, look, thank you so much for coming in.
Pleasure.
Really appreciate it. Look forward to talking again soon and seeing I'm going to see the Shakespeare show.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Lovely.
Brilliant. Okay. Thanks, Wade.
Cheers.
See you.